Hi, my name is Aris, and for the last 3 years I've been creating would be called like a lifestyle entrepreneurship video agency, Show and Tell LV in Latvia. And it started a bit differently than typically companies start. I had before cafe, and during the COVID, cafe was closed down, and we had 250 square meters of space, which we couldn't use during COVID because people couldn't meet and come to cafe and enjoy the meetings and networking. And at the same time, I still wanted to give the previous businesses this feeling, the culture to others, that we had these networkings, events, and everyone was kind of mingling together. And I wanted to have this same feeling, still give people online since the COVID was restricting everyone. And I started a lot of online streaming for myself. Gave some knowledge, talked about priorities, talked about goal settings, and it attracted one of my friends. And he had sound and lighting business, which is kind of similar here. You can see like lights in the back and kind of events. Someone who goes to the events and he gives like good lighting and good sound. And he liked the video we did. So we kind of, during these COVID restrictions, we started online broadcasting business. And some government agencies came, some private businesses came. So we started to film for them, broadcast for them. And this was one of the case scenarios where I wasn't like making specifically like a goal. I want to have video agency as a business, but we were only kind of playing around during COVID restrictions, and we stumbled upon demand. So we kind of only responded to demand, and for that time period, like around 1 year, the demand was really high. And it was kind of easier to build the business because there was a demand, they needed it. The problem was most of them had to have some kind of online broadcasting. They needed to have these kind of videos that I'm speaking as well, the same video like this. And it challenged us to learn quickly the skill to deliver as high possible quality videos as we could. In like a year, the COVID restrictions changed, and then the business kind of idea started to come in more, like thinking, okay, now the typical demand is lowering, so we have to step up the game. And then it moved on to Show and Tell, like a video agency, and it became more like a professional service afterwards when we had a chance to actually test demand on this. But before, I had even travel agency, and I had a cafe, and had an event agency, and different businesses that I tried to create intentionally. But this is the one that I created responding on demand, which is completely different and something that everyone says you should do. Look for demand, look where people are asking for something and try to deliver it. Try to be the one who actually can deliver it, maybe faster, maybe cheaper, maybe kind of different angles you can serve those people. When I started my first business, which was a travel agency, I was looking through the angle of crowdfunding. Basically, I was thinking about strategy, how we can sell before expenses come. And for traveling, it really makes sense. If we want to create a group to travel somewhere, to Spain or somewhere else, we basically started the marketing. We created posted in Facebook, did some descriptions, and tried to get people who join in. So they join in, they do prepayments. Firstly, we generate income, and then after income, we can buy flight tickets, hotels, and share the rest of the expenses. So basically, business was built on thinking how we can get income first, and only then we can cover the expenses. So that was really important because me and the partner, when we started it, we had like zero income. For the next business, which was cafe, it was different because cafe needs initial investment already in the beginning. So for that one, I was hired by one other company to look for investors, but over half a year working with them together, we came to the conclusion that their idea and I had a similar idea doesn't work together, and some of the investors I found was from people I knew. They liked more my ideas, so we kind of had to split up. So the concrete steps wasn't like really concrete. They also some coincidences and some luck in between, because I found people who were interested, and afterwards 2 of them joined in. They invested in total 16,000 euros, so we could open our first cafe in Riga. So that was investment for them. From my side, I didn't have euros to invest, but I was basically living there for the first 1.5 years, almost in that place, just building it up. There's a little tip and trick. I'm paying it back differently because during the COVID we still had some over expenses, basically that we didn't cover. Business ended, but there were still some invoices that had to be paid, and I have calculated they invested money at the beginning, but when the COVID came, those guys also quit it because they wasn't in Latvia, they were Norwegians, but I'm paying back from Latvia. Basically, they invested at the beginning, I'm paying the same amount now actually at the end of the closing the business. So interesting. So kind of I was investing the same amount only at the end of the business anyway, like monetary wise. Regarding video agency, I didn't need to secure any extra additional funding because I had a space and I had some knowledge in videos and I had some basic camera settings, and the other partner who came in with lights and sound. Together we came in, and that was the key partnership. We just started experiment, and that year led to some great projects, and I think we had some 150 euros, like 150,000 euro, like a revenue just by experimenting and going together on this. And that was interesting. That was really stressful year as well, because we learned a lot, and it was trying to get actually things done to serve people and deliver what we promised as well, and what actually people wanted. So for the last business, I already had these resources before, and it wasn't money-wise, it was resources that was accumulated throughout the years before. But on the cafe, which was business before that, on which piggybacked the video agency, I did what most people say. There was presentations. I contacted people who might be interested into investing. So I went to them, I did my pitching to them, and we had some discussions, and I realized my business plan is wrong there, my business plan is wrong there. And after a few discussions, I came down to some conclusion that people do like look at the spreadsheet, that it should be good on spreadsheet, the business idea. But mostly at the final steps, they gave in, they put in the money in the business because they looked at me and my personality, and they saw that I'm going to be the one who's going to be delivering the results, and they mostly gave the money just because they trusted me and saw that I can deliver them, not what I put together in a spreadsheet. So that's something to think about. Like, are you the person who can be, to whom people can trust their money? The key challenges when you set up your business is mostly clear idea in your head, because that is the hardest one. Before opening my cafe, people sometimes don't understand it when I say them. Already year before I opened it, I already knew everything what's in there. I visualized it, I walked around the place and knew how clients will come in, plus minus where they will sit, how they will feel, will there be a bookshelf. I kind of designed it, user experience. I thought about, I would say already like 80% of physical business, how it will look and what I want to see it, and what kind of events and what kind of atmosphere, what kind of feeling is going to be there. And I invested a lot of time already prepping myself, and it is only mainly for this one reason. I prepared myself to the day when the only thing that's missing will be money. And then when I got approval that those friends that will invest money in opening business, I didn't have any more hesitation. The next day I already found, I went around city and I was looking for the space and already how to apply for it. So the key, these kind of indications, is sometimes people think I don't have money and that's why I can't start a business. But the problem is, I can really bet you that if I give you or someone else gives you money today, what you think you need, you're still not going to be doing today and tomorrow like hardcore 100% into the idea. You're still not going to be able to start working it. You have no goals, you have no action list, you haven't prepared yourself to actually do the work if the only thing is missing money. So if the only thing is missing money, then I hope you have done all the preparings before, so you can do the work. The most significant lesson for me as a leader has come through my failures. I would love to sit here and talk about my successful business experience, but in some cases, not in some cases, but tourism agency, I quit it because I couldn't work together anymore with a partner. So that was my lesson, that relationship with the key people in the company for me was more important than the business itself. So I quit it and I went away, found someone else in my space, and that person could actually, he still years later was building the same business, and it is become one of the most successful in Latvia. And the second one was also the kind of still the partnership thing, and it was tricky to figure out how can we collaborate together, because there's other people have one expectations and I have another expectations, and they want something that I do and I want that they do something. And it was a lot of good training on communication, but the person came from Norway and he had a better, I would call it for business, better mindset than I did. So I had to learn a lot from him. But then the COVID came, which gave me a lot of thinking time, because I really couldn't handle the situation where someone else can tell me, now Aris, you go home, sit and think, you can't work in your business anymore. Because I was thinking, me as an entrepreneur, I chose my business, I was thinking like it is solid, there's no risks, it's just me and building it. But reality, government decisions in COVID showed me that the idea was vulnerable, the execution was vulnerable, because at the end still I had to go and sit home. And it led me all these kind of failures, but failure wouldn't be called failure. It's kind of, I had an expectation or I have a goal, but it's just different result. It doesn't feel like different result. I know it feels like failure, but it's just different result that I wasn't expecting. It led me to more and more grounding. So my leadership style was it was much more energetic, it was much more outgoing, I was much more hyped, like some people say like crazy eyes. I was just going into marketing and trying to do as much as I can. And every of this failure have kind of grounded me more. It has deconstructed my ego a lot, and I have changed. I was a lot of extroverted leadership style, and it has become more and more introverted. And instead of trying to grasp a lot of things in the same time and trying to kick out as much as I can as useful things, and just really try to focus what is valuable and what is most impactful. So I'm being more thoughtful, more direct, and doing less and less things that are not important. And that's how it has changed over the period of 8 years with my unexpected results, or some people call them failures. It's just kind of, it has grounded me, and I wouldn't recognize myself now if I would look back as my first idea was. I was much more enthusiastic than I am now, and I'm still finding that leadership style as well, because there's some things I know what works well for me, there's some things I see that works well with the teams, and then there's still some aspects of my leadership that I'm not proud of, that I don't like, and I'm working on them. Sometimes I am aware that they're not working, but at this time of the life I can't put more effort on them to change them. So it's kind of being still aware that I am good at some things, I'm not good at some things, and have to choose that I'm going to work more on these. And I'm aware of them, but they're still kind of there, like a baggage that I have to carry with me for a while at least, when I'm going to be available to locate more effort on these things, maybe to fix them, to improve them in my life, in my style at least. The main advice I would like to give you is to think about more how to get everything internal. If you focus more on building your idea, and you're subconsciously maybe thinking that you need approval from everyone else, maybe your parents, your children, or friends, or even your boss or employees, if you look more on these outside approvals on your idea, it could be helpful, and you should be able to pick out the value out of it. But the most valuable thing for you will be trying to internalize everything that you are, trying to kind of find what is my style, what I want to do, what are my goals, how I want to reach, what's my ethical approach on this, what's my morale, like what I am willing to do, what I'm willing kind of to sacrifice. It's if you being able to voice your own opinion and have these hard conversations, it's kind of basically become a human being, someone who is okay to live with yourself, because you have to live with yourself all the time. And if you feel terrible building your business like all the time, maybe it's just wrong business. It doesn't mean that you're a bad entrepreneur. It's maybe you chose the wrong business for yourself. There's a lot of things that happens, and a lot of decisions come through your head and through my head all the time as well. It's just internalizing is the only thing that will make you feel more and more like you. Like, this is me, this is who I am, like identity level. And when I had, years ago, I had an interview with one really well-known coach in Latvia, and I asked her, how do you see which businesses, which entrepreneurs are most successful, or whatever you define as successful? She said the ones who are it's called congruent. They are congruent, they are internal, they are in peace with themselves, they know what they do, what they don't do, what they like, what they don't like, and they are okay with that. They can be even mean or maybe arrogant as an entrepreneur, but they are okay with that. And because they are okay with how they are, they do better business. So it's kind of getting to get to know you better and be okay with that. You can still improve on everything, but this being okay, being congruent with yourself, that is the key to have kind of more impact in what you can do as a one person in some scenarios. So if you're in Ventspils and you're thinking about the business, thinking about your first business, it is always good to test something out. It's the longer you think about it and the longer you marinate or fermentate or whatever you do with your idea, the longer someone else probably is building it somewhere, maybe another city in Latvia or somewhere else. So the most important thing is to start talk it out to other people. When I was 20, I was afraid my ideas will steal someone, and ironically, I never created any of them. None of them became as a business, which led me to some thinking, something is wrong in this calculation. If I'm afraid someone will steal my idea, maybe they're not that worthy for me to invest any energy into it, to do and try to build them. And that's when I started to switch it. So whenever I had an idea, which I thought is kind of worthy, I started to talk about it, started to gather some insights, started to think about some opinions. Would people like it, would not like it? And that completely changed because I realized ideas is not the problem anymore. We have too many, not too many ideas, but they are not a problem anymore. Even if you write in ChatGPT or Google, give me 500 ideas, you will get a list. You will get a list. The problem is these two hands that are actually building some of the ideas. It doesn't matter if it's in Ventspils, Kuldīga, or Riga, or somewhere in Latvia or somewhere else. If you have this infection in your head, which is called an idea to build something, then it doesn't matter how long you think about it, you have to do something about it. And then possibly speak to someone who is in the field, who knows the idea, start speaking about it, and then you might find someone who is actually a paying client. And that's when things change. Because then you will start to think about, do I want to continue on this, or should I move to some other business idea? And if you can from yourself already be one of the rare ones who can already think about global ideas and start to build on them, amazing, good for you. But most of people I see can't grasp the idea what means exporting and what it means to have a bigger idea. It's just, if you're one of them, amazing, build that one. You will be winner anyway after a few years because you will have something much bigger done. But if you don't have it, also be okay with yourself and just execution kills all those people who have talent and they don't do anything. I have seen that in video industry as well. I hired the guys years ago who were much better than me, and in the last year I have seen that just they had a talent, they were better than me, but in the years I have just gathered as much information, I have had a lot of failures, I have had a lot of experience, and just by grinding the skills, I have moved ahead of them. So I don't hire them anymore because they have talent, but they don't put in much execution. So I'm ahead of them already. So it kind of gave me perspective. Just putting in effort on doing something, it is good enough to get ahead from those who has talent, but they don't put any effort in it. If I had a capacity is an amazing question because it just focuses on basically what's my priorities. But if I had a capacity, and I do have it because I'm still alive, I'm actually looking as well now regarding online business, basically education online business. I'm looking more into it. It's called like content entrepreneurship, because I have realized I am, at my current life stage, I am this lifestyle entrepreneur, which means my business main purpose is to serve me and my lifestyle, how I'm living. And I'm not expanding it just because expansion of the business or because of getting more profit out of it. And the next one I'm looking at is, as I'm still talking to you also in this camera, this is providing content, and looking this one as a business model. Potentially it could be even like an online school, online courses, something going into it as an educational business field. I'm looking into it and seeing what would be the demand I could fill out, or where's the gap I could find something that I could provide that actually people are willing to pay for. So this is the field I'm currently looking at as well regarding, because for me it is also complementary regarding my show and tell, like a video agency business, because I'm into the content. I'm helping others create different type of contents, and for me it makes sense that I'm going into creating content and selling it as well. So it's, for you, I would say as well, if you think about next fields, it's easier to step into the fields that are complementary to the ones that you already have, where your knowledge is already there. To get the new knowledge, a new field, it's harder, but it's still worthy. It's still worthy to probably put in the effort.